Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rich Artist Fridays. Thanks for tuning in for another week. And this week we have a first from ever since we started this, which guys, in 5 weeks, we're coming up on 1 year of Rich Artist Fridays. But the first that we have today is that we're doing a 4-week masterclass workshop because I was sort of thinking about like, how can I bring you guys even more value? How can I add more value to the Rich Artist Fridays? And with a lot of topics, I always wish we had more than 30 minutes to dive into it. And I know I'm always like talking about topics and then I'm like, I'll do a part 2 on this because there's so much more to say. But the number one topic where I feel like I have so much to say, and I know that you guys have so many questions, and it's a topic that we can pick up again and again and again, is how to acquire commercial clients. How do you land a brand? How do you start shooting for a brand? So I was thinking about it and I was like, why don't we do like a full month of Rich Artist Fridays around the same topic? So welcome to the first ever Rich Artist Friday Masterclass. If you're new here, my name is Sophie. I'm very happy that you decided to tune in. I'm the founder of the Rich Artist Program, and the Rich Artist Program is to counteract or break the stigma of a starving artist lifestyle. And it's 30 minutes every Friday where I give you guys all the stuff that has made the biggest difference in my business, all the things that have helped me to build a stable business and to actually get to live the photography career that I always dreamed of and feel confident doing it, and identifying myself with being an entrepreneur, and getting the resources that I want to have in order to make the art that I dream of making and be just as much of an artist as I was before, and also land a couple of really, really big commercial campaigns. I've done nationwide campaigns. I've done campaigns in Europe. I've done worldwide campaigns, and campaigns that got shown globally, which was absolutely crazy. And I've done a story time about that experience. And now I want to share those experiences with you guys, because when I was starting out in my career, I wish somebody would have taken me by the hand and been like, hey, this is what it was like for me. And these are the things that happened. And this is what this crazy world looked like. And here's the mistakes that I had to make. Or like, I wish somebody would have told me this and this, or I would have tried this and this sooner, or I would have paid attention to implementing my time in this area more, because I think it would have gotten me to the career that I was dreaming of a lot faster. So I want to be that person for you guys. I want us to build a community where we can have an exchange with one another, because a lot of us are solo freelance artists. So we do all of this by ourselves day in, day out. And I want us to have a place where we can all come together and share that, certain things I think are on all of our minds. And it would be so great to have a place to come together and have an exchange about this. So I love seeing you guys' feedback. I love when you guys tune in on Instagram Live. Thank you so much for being here. And I love seeing your feedback. So while I'm talking to you guys through these topics, if you have any comments or any feedback or any of your own experiences to share, please leave them in the comments and I'll read them out loud. And yeah, I love interacting with you guys. So we're doing a masterclass. The masterclass is called The Art of, or Mastering the Art of How to Land a Commercial Campaign as a Photographer. And we're breaking it down into 4 weeks. And guys, after these 4 weeks are up, we're hitting week 52, which means the 1 year anniversary of Rich Artist Friday. So after this month-long masterclass is done, we're gonna do like a big blowout celebration or something. I'll probably do some more like raffle portfolio review giveaways or something. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out on my Instagram where I will be raffling that out. But for now, we're gonna do, I'll talk you through the 4 weeks real quick, so you know what's coming up, and you guys can already sign up for all 4 weeks. And we're going to start with week 1 today. So week 1 today is understanding the importance of commercial campaigns, and I'll get into this in a second. I just want to lay the groundwork, the foundation of like, well, why is this important? How does it differentiate from editorial work or fine art work, or whatever other work that you're interested in doing, and just understanding how much it can enhance your career in every possible way of wherever you want to steer it and whatever direction you want to go in. Next week, we're going to pick that up and we're going to go into crafting an irresistible portfolio. We've done Rich Artist Fridays about portfolios before, but I think there's so much more to say here. How to highlight your past successes, especially when it comes to commercial work. And guys, even if you haven't done any big campaigns, I want to show you guys how you can use what you already have in order to set yourself up for success if working with brands is what you're after, which I'm assuming you are because you're here. And then in week 3, let me just pull this up real quick here. Week 3, we're doing building and nurturing client lists. And we have, again, we've done the Rich Artist Friday on this as well. And if you want to catch up on that, check out my my YouTube channel, because I'll upload the recording there. So if you ever miss a session, you can catch up on that there. But again, there's also so much more to say here about this, about how to, build long-term successful relationships with your clients. And, I just want to give you guys more tips that I found useful about networking and delivering the customer service that especially brands would need from you in order to want to keep coming back to you. Because if you're going to do this work, might as well set yourself up to not just get one job out of it, but maybe, if you're lucky, years and years of continued work. And I have done continued campaign work with certain brands, which is always very rewarding when they come back to you, because you know that they were happy with what you delivered and what you gave them, and that also your style and your quality of work is something that is continuously wanted and sought out. And then the last week, we're going to do effective marketing and promotion strategies. Now, I've also done Rich Artist Fridays about outreach routines and all of that stuff, but there's so much more to it. And I always say, your dream client doesn't know you exist yet. So it's really, really important that we carve out the time to be consistent with this stuff, because this is the #1 money gain activity when it comes to landing new clients, is you showing up and gaining more visibility. And I want you guys to sort of feel confident in doing that, because I know that that can be also sort of a mind hurdle of constantly having to put yourself out there. And a lot of you guys probably don't have agents or managers that will do this for you. So it really is in our own hands to put ourselves out there and make sure that, even as we're starting to experience success, there's going to be more clients coming in after we're done with being, crazy absorbed in doing the thing that we landed just now. That happened to me where I started landing campaigns and I was like, oh, great. And that's all I ever wanted. So I was so focused on that I forgot to sort of set myself up to have continued work in the future. And that's when you start experiencing the highs and lows of the ebbs and flows of work coming in and then work drying out, and then you're sitting there and you're like, what did I do wrong? So week #1, understanding the importance of commercial campaigns. I was just take a breather. I do not need to be talking 100 miles an hour. I'm sorry. I just always feel like I want to give you guys as much content and context within these subjects as I possibly can. So that I'm always like, we only have 30 minutes. But today is really just to sort of get you guys introduced to why I chose this as the first topic for a masterclass. And I don't know about you guys. I always dreamt of doing commercial campaigns. I always wanted to be the next photographer for the new season of Prada or Gucci or even MAC Cosmetics or NYX or whatever it is. I always wanted to be that photographer that shot the pictures that were on the billboards, that got shown in Times Square, that were, in the front of a magazine. Now, not every photographer, I understand, their main goal is to be a commercial photographer. And when I talk about this topic with a lot of artists, the #1 thing that I hear is oh, but I want to do editorial work because I want to be creative. I don't want a client to tell me exactly what to do. And I hear you. You're talking to the person that was all I want to do is shoot the cover of Vogue, and then I'll have made it and I can die happy. And that's totally cool. Or if you're somebody that is really into fine art and you want to be represented in galleries and do exhibitions or focus on doing photo books or whatever it is that you want to accomplish with your art, that's totally fair. Now, hear me out. In the photography industry in general, if you plan on making a living off of your art, you're already making a living off of your art, obviously you know that you need to be doing jobs that bring you money. Now, editorial jobs don't pay shit. Like if you're working for magazines is not where the money is because a magazine only makes money off of the copies that they sell off of a magazine. Whereas if you work for a brand is selling a product, so they have revenue, they have income that they can then invest in more marketing. And that's where you come in. And if you can help them do that, then it's worth so much investment to a lot of brands to be able to have high quality images that allows them to grow their brand and sell more products. Now, does that make you somewhat of a service provider to these brands in a commercial context? Obviously. And for a while, when I started working as a commercial photographer, I sort of had to sit myself down and sort of make sure I'm okay with that as well, because the work that I was doing for my own personal portfolio was something that I felt very morally in tune with. And I was purely doing it because it was highlighting the sort of people that I would have liked to have seen growing up. And, I felt like that was sort of contributing to a higher good for people. And then because of the nature of that work, I somehow became marketable and I started getting approached by beauty brands and hair care brands and fashion brands. And it was so bizarre to me that pictures that I had taken in order to tell a story that I felt like needed to be heard, then all of a sudden put me in a niche where brands were like, oh, but you're doing that successful, on a social scale. Now we want to pay you to do that for us so that we can sell a product. And I was like, that feels so strange to me. And yet when I started thinking about it and when I started thinking about the kind of career, am I lagging like crazy, you guys, in the Zoom? Um, where was I? When I started attracting commercial campaigns, I realized like, hey, this is actually the smartest thing I could possibly be doing because I can take the money that I make off of shooting campaigns and put them towards being able to create whatever it is that I dreamed of, right? And ultimately, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's just simply being smart, is to find a way to make actual good money with what you're good at. And you guys are so good and you invest so much time in honing in on your skills and your craft and becoming the best artist that you could possibly be. So first of all, who says that you shouldn't be making money with that, and like significant amounts of money where you have money to live off of, you have money to put aside for a rainy day because we all know that jobs come and go, and have money to invest in creating more, like renting a studio space or being able to do collabs with other artists, and being able to pay them like a kit fee, or being able to rent gowns for a certain vision that you have that you want to create, all of the things that are necessary, or being able to rent the gear that you've always wanted to work with, or develop the film from that you shot, whatever it is, you have to find a way to make that happen for yourself. Now, obviously, you can also have a career on the side and get money that way. But isn't it kind of amazing if you can do that through the means of your photography? And if you if you can get to a level where brands want to invest in you, it gives you so much credibility, and it gives you so much visibility in the industry, because people really do take note of the photographers that get hired by brands, because now all of a sudden you're not just being hired by a publication anymore or by a private client, which you can also make amazing money through private clients. But all of a sudden you're being hired by this whole company, and these companies, they have creative directors, they have art directors, they have marketing companies that they have production companies that they hire. So there's so many people that are all of a sudden getting involved in something that you're already doing anyways. And now you're getting to do it on a scale where you have the resources to create something on a larger scale, which is an amazing experience to make. Like being able to hire one assistant, two assistants, three assistants, a digitech, being able to rent a camera that you might have never worked with before. Like the first time I ever used a Phase One or a Hasselblad or whatever it was because I was doing it with a brand that was able to afford me to be able to do that. Um, Getting to travel for your work, all of these things, are getting to work in big spaces with large scale equipment. And if this all sounds intimidating to you, we've done other Rich Artist Fridays where we talk about like, hey, you know, you really got to fake it till you make it, and like you got to find a way to gift yourself these experiences before you learn how to deal with the experiences that you're making. Like you trust me, you can learn how to do this if you want to, and there's nothing wrong with going after making that a reality for yourself, even if you don't yet know what it'll be like once you experience it. Okay. Like everybody's gonna have to have their first time eventually. Like when my first big commercial campaign landed in my lap, like I had no idea what I was doing, and like it freaked me out, and I needed to get every single person in the industry that I knew like has ever dealt with these kind of jobs before to help me. And thank God they did, and if you get to that point and you don't have somebody, then call me, okay? Like I'll talk you through it and you will whoop this thing. But if you get to work with brands, not only are you setting yourself up financially to get the resources that you need in order to make more art, because your art is important. The world needs to see your art, like we are visual creators for a reason, and our art is meant to be consumed. So if you're continuously playing on a scale where you don't have the resources, you don't have the equipment, you don't have the team to support you in creating what your true vision is, and also getting to experience yourself as an artist, explore, create, have the time to try yourself out, and take, we all know that it takes time and like mental relaxation to even get into a creative headspace and come up with something new. All of that takes resources. So I just wanted to start us off with acknowledging that, like, yeah, is there commercial brands that are selling a product that, from my perspective, no needs, and that have unethical company values, or that stand for something that you might not want to be supporting? Probably, yeah. But for every brand that there is where you're like, I can't get on board with this, and I don't want to support this, and I don't believe in what they're doing, there is like 10 other brands that are doing something that they care about stuff too. And they are amazing people involved, and they're amazing creatives. And getting to meet these people and getting to work in a larger team and a larger context of a big project is so, so, so rewarding as an artist. And it really pushes you to develop yourself as an artist and as a business person. And it's an amazing experience to get to make, and you will grow so immensely through those experiences. And not to mention, have funding to make art that, isn't there to sell a product, that is purely there to tell the stories that you want to tell. And, you know, you can use for social advocacy or whatever it is that you want to use your art to make the world a better place, because I know that a lot of you guys do. I want you guys to start considering that you might be able to do both, and that it might be worth at least exploring the option of doing both. Now, we've talked about, like, for example, how to land high-paying private clients. If that's more your spiel, like, all the power to you. Like, there's so many different ways you can make money as an artist. But I know a lot of you guys do want to work with brands. You do want to shoot campaigns, and you do want to see your work on a billboard or on a website or in an ad campaign, or where else do you see commercial campaigns? Like consumer print advertisement in a magazine or something like that. So I wanted to start this master workshop off with just opening up our minds to the possibilities of being able to do both. And start creating a vision for yourself where your experiences that you can make through working with brands and doing commercial work can be just as fulfilling as the work that you do for personal use, for your own personal portfolio. In my experience, it has very much been that way because ultimately, yeah, brands sell a product and they we view them as this big organization that is not a human. It's a thing that is there to, you know, a machine that makes money, that pumps out something for people to buy and then like creates the need for people to want to buy and consume. Like, welcome to capitalism. But from my experience, and like, don't get me wrong, like I used to look at it like that for such a long time. And then I started doing my first couple of campaigns and I was like, oh, brands are also just people. Brands are made up of individual people, and these people are also creatives or creative adjacent most of the time, especially, you know, if you're the artist that's being brought on, like you're going to work with the people in the industry in the company that are at least creative adjacent, if not creatives themselves. It's an amazing environment to get to experience, and if you can make really good money while doing it, I think that's an ideal scenario. And we're going to dive deeper into, you know, how to make that happen for yourself. I'm sorry for the little interruption that we had. I know it cost us a little bit of time today, but I hope that this sort of broadened your horizon. Maybe you'll start thinking about like, what would be your ideal experience of working with a brand? Like maybe you already have worked with a brand. I highly encourage you to sort of think about what were your favorite elements that you experienced and what were things that you wish you experienced differently. And if you've never shot a campaign, like dream big, right? If we don't have a vision of what we want, it's sort of hard to pull that into our reality. Even before I started shooting campaigns, I sat down and I sort of journaled out like, what would my ideal interaction with a brand be like? You know, how would they view me as an artist? How would they treat me as an artist? You know, I wrote down things like, brands love working with me. They're all competing with each other to be able to hire me. They are very interested in paying me the rates that I want to get paid because they understand that those are the resources I need in order to create the best possible project for them. They are so happy to get to interact with me. All of my prep Zoom meetings are super fun, and I actually love the people that are on the other side of the camera that I get to talk with, and I get to know them a little bit as individuals. And we have a great time every time we get to work together because they know that I'm a good team player and they are interested in this being a mutually beneficial business deal between us, and they are interested in my perspective. They are interested in my input. They value my input. They value my expertise. The project itself is super fun, and I grow as an artist, and I get to also, you know, make mistakes that teach me such invaluable lessons for the next time I get to do this. And, you know, in that context, there really are no mistakes. There really is just learning lessons. And I grow immensely as an artist. Every time I get to do this, I get better at it. I feel more confident in what I'm doing. I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel uh, you know, I feel like I have more capabilities to do what I want to do and steer my career in the direction that I want to steer it because, you know, with financial freedom also just comes choice. Like, isn't that what we all want? We want choice in where our career goes. And yeah, we'll all have to take jobs every once in a while that maybe aren't 100% perfectly aligned with what we dream of doing, but they're there for a reason and for a purpose, and you can still get a big takeaway from those jobs as well. Like, really start creating a vision for yourself of like, what could this look like for you? Because I know from personal experience, especially when you're just starting out in making experiences with shooting campaigns, there is a lot of fear that comes up as well, and a lot of intimidation, or like the horror stories that we've heard from other artists, or like when I first started trying to land like bigger campaigns with brands, I always felt like everybody is out to trick me and to like sort of suck me dry and take advantage of me. Like I felt like if I'm not careful, I'm going to be taken advantage of left and right because I'm naive and young and I don't really know what I'm doing yet. And um like just whatever, horror scenarios I was creating in my head. And I was like, okay, well, if I can create horror scenarios in my head of how bad it could be to be shooting campaigns, and I can also create a vision of how amazing it could be to be shooting campaigns and how enriching these experiences can be for me. And guess what, guys? They have been. Like, a lot of the campaigns that I got to shoot were just like some of my favorite projects ever. And afterwards, I walk away with having made the kind of money that I can live off of, and that I can then use to think about, okay, what is it I really want to do for my portfolio next? Like, what am I going to do on my own terms, not attached to a brand, or what sort of collab would I love to sort of start going, or what magazine am I going to now take the time that I can afford to take to approach and pitch a project to, or whatever it is, or entering into an exhibition, or whatever makes you the artist that you are. So I hope this encourages you guys to start dreaming big in that sense and start thinking about like what could be an ideal scenario if you do end up shooting campaigns. And then next week, we're going to take a look at, what was it, portfolios first? Let me check real quick. And next week, we're doing, yes, crafting an irresistible portfolio so that you can start actually showing up as the artist that would get hired to do this kind of work, because that's kind of important. We all know that appearance is kind of everything. So I hope you enjoyed today. Book your tickets for the next 3 weeks, and then also keep an eye out for the raffle for our 1 year anniversary big blowout party, which I'm so excited for. And I will see you guys next Friday. If you missed one of these sessions and you want to catch up before we do the next week of the masterclass, then just catch up on YouTube. Brenda says, thank you, a little hard. Thank you for being in here. I see a comment in this room live. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulties. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.